So similarly now, did anyone predict that she would actually die at that time, that point in time? She just got married, 1 week marriage, and she fell off that cliff. Similarly, when I was in NIT Srotkal studying there, we used to get so many news that nearby NIT Srotkal we used to have a beach called as Malte Beach. People used to go on the rocks in that beach. On top, one student was taking a selfie. He was taking a selfie and he slipped because of the force of the wave and just fell back and gone. No one. Again, he was never found after that. So in this way, no one plans for death, but one actually dies, isn't it? So therefore, in this world, we see there are so many problems: national level problems. There are economic problems. There are political problems. There are relationship problems. So many spheres and categories of problems. But the root of all problems is the cycle of birth and death. So therefore, Krishna says, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi Dukkha Doshanu Darshana. This is the actual problem of life. So therefore, we were discussing when we perform akarma for our self-interest, so that I can earn money, so that I can take care of my, my family members, of my country, of my society, everything binds us. Even the good deeds bind us. You give some food to the poor person, it binds us. Can anyone say how? How does it bind us to this material world? Except answer the previous question. Yeah.
Because we are doing good deed, we'll get. We have to get the
good reaction.
Good reaction for that. So that's why we get birth again and then.
Yes, correct. So to undergo the good reaction, we have to again take birth in this world. So therefore, it doesn't free us from the cycle of birth and death. And therefore, Krishna explains that this world is not a very happy place to be in. How many of you have realized to some degree? All self-realized sages are sitting. Yeah, dukkha ayama shashvatam. And another place he says anityam asukam. He uses both. Both are same. Basically, it's filled with misery and it is temporary. Anityam asukam lokam, like that he says in another verse. So therefore, he tells Arjuna, you work on my behalf. Yajñātāt karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. He says you act, but for me. So therefore, people who act for me, they don't get bound. But people who act on their own behalf, they get stuck up in this cycle. So therefore, Krishna in this third chapter is telling Arjuna, don't choose renunciation. Better than renunciation of action is to act for Krishna. That is better. That is higher. So therefore, now Arjuna was in a perplexity whether to fight or not. Krishna is telling, better you fight. So now, Krishna gives two levels of arguments why to fight. First thing he says, you cannot renounce artificially. Has anyone here tried to give up anything you're attached to artificially? Yeah, you have tried. What have you tried to give up?
So basically, when I was a kid, I tried to artificially give up watching cartoons, but it was.
And what happened?
It was very difficult. Like I started watching even more.
Yeah, really? Yeah, what did you try to give up? Sweets. And what happened? Just now I saw you.
Same.
Yeah. So similarly, in this world, we cannot artificially give up anything. So Krishna is telling Arjuna, if you artificially give up, then what will happen is one will fall for that fake renunciation. That means in India, India has become a factory house of sadhus, babas, dongi babas. Now these babas, externally they showcase themselves to be very highly renounced, but there are so many scandals which come out, isn't it? Because of the illicit connections, illicit affairs they are caught in. Why? Because they have artificially given up. Therefore, Krishna explains second chapter we went through. Rasam varjya rasopyasya param drishva nivartate. Until unless we have got that higher taste, we cannot give up lower taste. It's not possible. So therefore, Krishna tells Arjuna, for that reason you should fight. Don't give it up. Isn't it? So now you will find once actually a king, he wanted to find an intelligent citizen. So this king, he went across his kingdom and he had one trick. What he would do, he would actually throw a golden ring on which his name was engraved. So he would throw this ring from behind the bushes. He would throw the ring and see what would happen. So this was like a very common pathway where people would cross. So one person came. He looked at the ring, and immediately he thought. He looked to the left and right. No one was there. Immediately he took the ring, slipped into his pocket, and he started walking away. Immediately the king sent his soldiers. The soldiers gave him a good thrashing and got the ring back. So he thought, this fellow, such people exist who are simply rascals, who just take another person's property. And then the king again went behind the bushes and again threw the ring on the road. Now another type of person came. This person, he came, saw the ring, looked at it, immediately kept it back. And he said, I don't want to get into any trouble. And he went away. And the king thought, why did he do that? It's a golden ring. It is not very wise to have the golden ring lie around. At least he could have had some use of it, isn't it? So king felt that these people are also not very smart. And then he again went behind the bushes, threw the ring on the road, and another type of person came. And this person, he picked up the ring, read what was engraved. And what was engraved? The name of the king was engraved. So as soon as he saw the name of the king, immediately he tried to make arrangements that the ring be returned to the king. As soon as king saw this, immediately appreciated this man, and he brought this man and gave the ring to him and said, this is my gift for you. Now why did king give this ring to the third category of people? The third type of man? Yeah?
The person, you could say acted for him.
The person?
The person acted towards him so he didn't do anything. He didn't just see it and do nothing, but then he didn't see it and then take it for himself. But he took he took assertion in going to the king and giving back the ring.
Okay, good. Thank you.
The person knows that if this thing doesn't belong to him, so why he should give? But he thought like someone has lost. So he thought like it's my responsibility because I found, so it should be given to the right person, to its owner.
Okay, very good.
So the king thought like he's a responsible guy, he's not greedy, he acted like selfless.
Very good. Yeah, he is neither greedy nor foolish. Foolish would be those people who get a fortune but they don't use it out of fear of using, isn't it? So those people who have got a strong kick from the material nature, say they tried for a relationship, they got a strong kick. Next time, whenever they see opposite sex, they will just bow down and go away from there. Isn't it? Because they know last experience was very bitter. Isn't it? So therefore, such people, they want to renounce everything. They look at technology, they say, I don't want technology. Isn't it? Now, say for example, you bought a costly car. But that car had a lot of problems. Will you again purchase a car? No, you will be 1,000 times more careful. So therefore, the first type of person whom the king met, he is called as Bhogi. Bhogi is the one who comes to this world and looks at the world and objects of this world with the mentality of how I can enjoy it. He is the one who took the ring and slipped it into his pocket. He doesn't care who put it there. As long as I can enjoy it, it is sufficient. So such people were caught by the king and punished. Similarly, people who come to this world to enjoy, taking from material nature without returning it to God, such people are handcuffed by material nature through conditionings, and they're punished by material nature. Similarly, now the second kind of people the second man who came and picked up the ring and kept it back out of fear of using the ring. Such people are called as Tyagis. These Tyagis, they look at the things of this world, they're scared. Again have to undergo entanglement. So immediately they keep it and they run away from there. They go and sit in the Himalayas somewhere. You saw that very popular YouTube short. The soldiers were going somewhere and they found one sage. Something like that. This Yogi Babas, they go somewhere and sit and just meditate. They don't want to do anything with this world. And the third kind of person is called as Bhakta. Bhakta is a devotee of the Supreme Lord, and therefore he is like the good citizen. He picks up the ring, looks at the engrave, the name. He understands this belongs to God, and therefore he returns it to God. Therefore, a devotee is one who takes the resources from material nature and uses in the service of God. He is not the one who renounces. And in these lines, Krishna tells Arjuna, don't renounce. You should fight, engage in the war, because you are doing it for me. If it was for yourself, don't engage, no problem. Because it's for me, engage on my order. So Krishna is inspiring Arjuna to fight. And other category of argument, what Krishna says is, even if you are qualified for renunciation, still you should not renounce, because we have to set example for this world. So then he gives example of himself. Krishna says, actually I am not bound by any karma. Krishna doesn't have to work an IT job to get money to run his life. Did you know that? FYI. He doesn't have to work in this world. He doesn't have to appear for interviews. He has no tension of jobs. But still Krishna, when you see, he is acting as the king. Or sometimes he puts Ugrasena as the king and he serves the king. He is still acting as a citizen in Dwarka. He is still following the codes of conduct, how to behave in a society in Dwarka. You will find that. Why? Just to set the right example. Krishna does this. Krishna says in further verses. And this verse Krishna is telling, this is how the leaders should behave. We are all leaders to some degree. How many of you would like to take up leadership positions here? Okay, not so many, maybe like 50%. Some people are confused. Yeah. So we all, actually in your company itself, when you are working, you will take up leadership positions, something like say SDE, software developer. That's also the way you behave in society, the way you work. You're still influencing someone in this world, isn't it? So whatever we do in society, someone is inspired. Sometimes, I'm just walking and some people come and say, oh Prabhu, I'm very much inspired by you. I say, I don't even know you. How can you be inspired by me? So like that, then I understood, it's not just me, many people have had this experience. Because we are all being observed, people around us, as you travel, as you exist in society, people keep observing. And we become a role model to someone to some degree. You understand this? Isn't it? So therefore, even if we are not public leaders, we are personal leaders. That means we take care of our life, and to some degree we also have an influence on society. Public leaders means on a big scale we have influence. So therefore one devotee was telling me, those people who look for public leadership without personal leadership, I mean public leader without personal leader is a misleader. So that means public leadership position means competence. People want to be very competent. Anyone who comes to US means you want to be competent. But people are not very much attracted towards character. So when there is lack of character, that competence itself can become problematic. For example, say there are two type of doctors, and you have a kidney pain. Now you go to Dr. A, he is highly competent. He has many letters of degrees, whatever, I don't know what degrees they have. He's a surgeon and etc. etc. So now when you go to such a doctor, he's highly competent, but he doesn't have so much of character. So if you go to him, when he does surgery, he can cut your kidney, but later on when you pay the bill, later on you will understand actually you have one kidney missing. Why? Because he's such an expert surgeon, he knows how to cheat you also, expertly, because no character. On the other hand, say there's Dr. B, who is very high in character, but not so much in competence. Would you go to him? No, he can be the most honest person and truthfully tell you, I cannot do surgery. They don't come to me, because he's not competent. So how many of you would go to Dr. A to have your kidney, fixed? You want to, you risk it, huh? Wow. Very bold, courageous people. How many of you will go to Dr. B? Hey, you are not going to get a kidney fixed. How many of you are smart enough to go to some other doctor? You rather go to a doctor who has both competence and character. So therefore in this world, public leadership alone is not sufficient. We need character. Character is something Hare Krishna. Character is something that actually forms the basis for our competence. And therefore history, as they say, history repeats itself. Time and again in history you will find top leaders have fallen victim to temptations because they are competent but no character. I would not like to take names, but there was a very famous golf player. Now such a famous golf player, he was later on caught up in sex scandal. And therefore now whatever name he had earned by playing golf, everything was lost. People didn't care for him. Similarly, one of the ex-presidents of US, he was also caught in a scandal with some affair with his secretary. Immediately, no name, the public. Yeah, so he was also caught up with an affair with his secretary. Immediately, people didn't care for what good he did for the country. Why? Because character is lost. What is that saying? If wealth is lost, nothing is lost. If health is lost, something is lost. If character is lost, everything is lost. Now in Kali Yuga, as Kali Yuga progress is opposite. Character is lost, nothing is lost. If health is lost, something is lost. If wealth is lost, everything is lost. So therefore, in this verse, today we are going to focus on this verse. Can you repeat after me? Yad yad acharati shreshthas
Yad acharati shreshthas
tat tad evetaro janaha
tad evetaro janaha
sayat pramanam kurute
sayat pramanam kurute
Lokastad anuvartate.
lokastat anuvartate.
Translation.
Whatever action a great man performs, common men follow. And whatever standard he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues.
Yeah. So Krishna is telling Arjuna what decisions you make, because Arjuna is a warrior, he is a leader. The whole Pandavas are looking up to him. Now, what decision Arjuna makes, the whole world will follow, isn't it? So therefore, Krishna is telling Arjuna, great kings like Janaka, he's a pure devotee. He doesn't have to do anything. He just depends on Supreme Lord, and Supreme Lord will supply everything he needs. Me, myself, I have nothing to do in this world, but still I come and set an example in the society. Krishna is telling Arjuna. So therefore, you also have to set a good example in society. So therefore, last week topic we had put it as the best gift you can give to someone, isn't it? Have you ever gifted anyone recently? No? Okay. What did you think was the best gift to that person?
I just asked what she needs.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
gave that.
Okay. That's the best gift.
Knowledge is the best.
Knowledge is the best gift. Okay. Time is the best gift. You are ready to spend time with them. Okay. Anything else?
Service.
Service. What will you do? Clean, do pocha to their home?
Of course, why not?
Yeah, it's good.
That's the greatest job.
It's not, of course. Yeah.
Asking friends to come to temple is the best gift.
Okay, connecting them to Krishna is the best gift. Okay.
Giving them advice.
Giving them advice even when they didn't ask for it. Okay. Actually, in one lecture, my spiritual master was saying, his name is Radhanath Swami was saying, he was saying the best gift you can give anyone is the right example. That is the best gift you can give. That means to deal in such a way that can inspire good qualities out of them. That is right example. Because in this world, we all mostly know what is the right thing to do. Isn't it? In any situation, usually we know we should not steal, we are not supposed to lie, we are not supposed to copy assignments. But still we do it. Because we know that even the toppers do it. We know even the professors, they don't care about it. Isn't it? Because we know the leaders of society are casual about it. Therefore, there is no one setting the right example. Isn't it? And because there is no one setting the right example, there is no inspiration to do the right. So therefore, this is the power of setting right example. So therefore, if you want to give any good gift, the best gift you can give to anyone is to set the right example for them to follow. You be, as Gandhi said, you be the change you want to see in the world. Isn't it? So therefore, in this verse, Krishna is explaining to Arjuna that whatever action a great man performs, common men will follow. So whatever position, whatever position you are in society, you have in society, there will be someone being inspired by you and following your footsteps. If not 1,000 or 2,000 or million, at least 1 or 2 will be there. Your brother, your cousins. Yes.
Is that a karma or is that also like something as a good karma?
Yeah, it is still, I mean, if you setting example here, when Krishna is telling Arjuna to set example, Krishna is also going to tell Arjuna how to set example by karma yoga, by doing action for Krishna. That is the right example. Yeah, can someone do this?
People in general always require a leader who can teach the public by practical behavior. A leader cannot teach the public to stop smoking if he himself smokes. Lord Chaitanya said that a teacher should behave properly before he begins teaching. One who teaches in that way is called acharya, or the ideal teacher. Therefore, a teacher must follow the principles of Shastra, scripture, to teach the common man. The teacher cannot manufacture rules against the principles of revealed scriptures. The revealed scriptures, like Manu Samhita and similar others, are considered the standard books to be followed by human society. Thus, the leader's teaching should be based on the principles of such Shastras. One who desires to improve himself must follow the standard rules as they are practiced by the great teachers. The Srimad Bhagavatam also affirms that one should follow in the footsteps of great devotees, and that is the way of progress on the path of the spiritual realization. The king or the executive head of state, the father, and the school teacher are all considered to be natural leaders of the innocent people in general. All such natural leaders have a great responsibility to their dependents. Therefore, they must be conversant with standard books of moral and spiritual codes.
Thank you. Yeah. So, therefore, you will find Bhagavad Gita is spoken to whom? Bhagavad Gita is spoken to leaders. In the next chapter, in the 4th chapter, Krishna tells Arjuna, actually, this Bhagavad Gita was already spoken by me some millions of years ago. To whom? He says, Vivaswan, the sun god. That means he's a leader. Then he says, I also had spoken it to Manu. To Manu, who is the leader of mankind. Which in turn he spoke it to Ikshvaku, the leader of Raghu dynasty, in which Lord Ram comes. So Bhagavad Gita is also spoken to leaders. And Krishna is speaking now to whom? Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna was another leader. So therefore in that purpose, Srila Prabhupada explains this level of message. See, this is not common knowledge, though we give it for free. But only people who value it, who can understand it, to them it is given. And anyone who takes this knowledge, they will become leader in society. Not necessarily with a public title and position, but you will have leader-like qualities, isn't it? So therefore, if we do not have training in leadership, like Srila Prabhupada once said, one reporter asked Srila Prabhupada, how do we identify who are your disciples? Srila Prabhupada said, they are perfect gentlemen. They are my disciples. Why? Because, of course, the reporter asked why. And Prabhupada said, because they follow the 4 regular principles of no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication, no illicit sex. And they chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Similarly, once Chanakya, he has given his definition of a learned man. Now all of you can see if you are truly learned or not. You want to know what Chanakya said? Okay. 3 points he mentioned. Matravat paradareshu paradravyeshu loshtravat atmavat sarvabhuteshu yap pashyati sa panditaha. A pandita or learned person is one who can see all women apart from one's wife as mother. Number 1. Second, he says one sees others' property as garbage. That means he is not eager to touch another person's property. Paradravyesh loshtravat. Atmavat sarvabhuteshu means he treats others in the same way he wants to be treated. Like if you go to someone's home, it's a hot sunny day, you would expect that at least he gives you some lemonade, not just water, but you would prefer some nice juice, cooling juice, isn't it? And some nice place to sit, and some AC switched on. So now when you have your friend come to your home, a gentleman would treat in the same way. He expects, okay, if I go to someone's home, how would I like to be treated? This is the way. So therefore, when someone comes to my home, this is the way I treat them. Otherwise, nowadays, people, when some guest comes, they are actually sometimes looking at the watch in front of the guest. When will this guest go away? Actually, no one is very happy. People are so busy, they don't really want to interact with anyone nowadays. Isn't it? It's like it becomes like a disturbance. But he says these three aspects form the basis of being learned. This is the definition of learned man, according to Chanakya Pandit. What are they? First, view all other women apart from one's wife as mother. Matru Paradareshu. And second one is view others' property, anything that doesn't belong to us, as garbage. And third one is treat others how you want to be treated. So you will find sometimes in college days, if someone's birthday is there. Recently I got to know on birthday how people celebrate outside. They give something called as birthday bumps. You know that? Yeah, they give birthday bumps. And recently someone was telling me some people have died also on their birthday. Yeah, I know that part. Other part even I know. Yeah, so in this way people actually, this is not gentlemanly. On a birthday, people want to exploit that person as much as possible. Whatever grudge one has been harvesting in their, in their heart, on the birthday they take it all out, isn't it? Or they take the friend to the restaurant, use his card and just clean it up. So in this way, people actually want to exploit other people in the name of birthday or whatever it is. So therefore, truly learned means one needs to learn these aspects. So therefore, if one has to become a leader in society, Krishna says that we need training how to be leaders. Prabhupada said, I would like to see that day when all the members of parliament, like MLAs and MPs and all of them, they all will be Hare Krishna devotees with Kantimala and Tilak with the bead bag around their neck chanting Hare Krishna, and then they go to all these government bodies. Then what decisions they take will be according to scriptures. Isn't it? Many people have this problem. Why did Lord Ram banish Sita to the forest? How many of you have this question? Okay, very few. How many of you already know the answer? How many of you don't care? You don't care. Actually, whatever is given in scripture is highly relevant. Not like French Revolution, Russian Revolution with CBSE teachers. That is like hardly of any use. But you see, why did Lord Ram banish Sita to the forest? Actually, the explanation is given by our teachers. Sun and sunshine can never be separated. Can you ever separate sunshine and sun? It's not possible. Similarly, Shakti and Shaktiman cannot be separated. Radha Krishna cannot be separated. Sita Ram cannot be separated. Lakshmi Narayan cannot be separated. If at all there is any apparent separation, it's only for the sake of the pastime. So therefore, when Lord Ram tells Sita that even though you have undergone Agni Pariksha, it's clear that you have not been touched by Ravana and your intentions also completely pure. Still, because he overheard one Dobiwala telling his wife, I am not Ram to allow you back into the home. So then he made a comment. Because the wife of that Dobiwala, she had gone somewhere and came late at night or something. So he made a remark that I am not Ram to let you back home. Then he made, and in those days the Vedic kings would have spies all around. So someone heard this and informed Lord Ram. So then Lord Ram said, okay, for that I will have to send Sita to the forest. But you think then Sita and Rama separated? No. You think when Sita was in Ravana's camp, Lord Ram is separated from Sita? No. So therefore, if you study Valmiki's Ramayana, it is explained. Who was that Sita who went to Ravana? Chaya Sita. Because actual Sita, if one is completely chaste, lusty man cannot even look at her. You know that? Yeah, it is there. There are many stories in the Shastras which say that lusty man, when they cannot even get a glimpse of a chaste woman. So chaste they are, isn't it? Or the power of chastity is such, like for a man, his brahmacharya gives him a lot of strength. Similarly, for a woman, chastity gives a lot of strength. So, in this way, the Supreme Lord and his energy can never be separated. But still, Lord Ram performs this pastime. Why? To show to the whole world that the example should be set. Lord Ram was the king. And therefore, to set the right example for the society, he asked Sita to go to the forest, just for the sake of setting example. Isn't it? Similarly, you will find, King Dhruva. King Dhruva, when he started ruling, he ruled for around 36,000, many thousands and thousands of years. He ruled this earth. So at once, he had his brother called as Uttama. And Uttama was, killed for no good reason by the Yakshas. So, to take revenge, Dhruva with all his force, he went to the world of Yakshas, Bhuvaha, to the Bhuvaha planet, where the Yakshas live. And he was fighting so fiercely that he was about to wipe out the entire race. Such a fierce battle was going on. And before he could do so, immediately Swayambhuva Manu came there. Swayambhuva Manu is the leader of mankind. And it is Manu going on. His time period going on. So Swayambhuva Manu told Dhruva, please, you are coming from a royal dynasty. You are a person who once controlled your senses and the mind. All of you know Dhruva Charitra? How did Dhruva attain perfection? No? Okay. Anyway, it's a long story. But Dhruva he was actually insulted by his father, then he goes to the forest to attain Lord Vishnu. Then he does an intense tapasya. At one point in time, he was only breathing air once in 9 days. And last month of his tapasya, he even stopped breathing air. This was Dhruva's tapasya. So much so that the Supreme Lord, because he was imbued with devotion, the Supreme Lord appeared right in front of him. And he offered beautiful prayers to him. This is the history of Dhruva. And such Dhruva, as he was ruling, at one point he was about to wipe out the race of Yakshas. And that time Manu came, and when Kubera, of course Kubera came later, but Manu came, and Manu requested Dhruva. He said, Dhruva, you are coming from a glorious dynasty. You are a king who has ruled this earth with lot of with justice for such a long time. You are the one who has controlled your senses and the mind. The intense tapasya which he had performed when he was young. So now, why are you losing control of your senses? Like that he said. And so Manu how he gave feedback, you can learn how to give feedback to others. If at all you want to give feedback, first positive he gave. Then he spoke one negative. Then again he glorified him. And again he spoke negative, and again positive. So now, therefore the scripture is so relevant. If you want to give feedback to anyone, you don't just say, Prabhu, the way you spoke was not nice. So you say, Prabhu, what you spoke, the topic was very nice. But the way you spoke, maybe here you can change something. But overall it was very good. If you say like that, people won't mind. So Manu spoke like that. He gave a feedback to Dhruva. And Dhruva later on understood. Why? And in one of the feedback, one point was, Manu told Dhruva that you are the king and you are going to set the right example. You are supposed to set the right example. So if you yourself go uncontrolled and vanquish the entire race of Yakshas, then what will happen? Tomorrow, out of anger, someone will also do the same thing. And they will quote you. Like some people, they tell me that in Mahabharata and Ramayana, Lord Ram used to eat meat. Then I asked him, you eat meat? He said, yes. Then I understood why he is quoting Lord Ram. Isn't it? Because I want to do something, I will catch hold of some personality whom I can quote. Like people, like many boys, when they come to me, they say, everything is alright, but Krishna danced with unmarried girls. They have. I said, okay, what is your problem? What is their actual problem? Because they also want to do the same thing. So they say, Krishna did it, so I also want to do. So immediately we ask, okay, Krishna did it, but he also lifted Govardhan. Have you lifted Govardhan? Can you lift Govardhan? We ask. And apart from lifting Govardhan, he was dancing on the multiple hoods of Kalia. And he was dancing. He was playing flute, and all of this with a smile. Can you do it? No, that they cannot do. But what you want to imitate? Krishna's Raslila you want to imitate. Isn't it? So this is called as rascaldom. So therefore people want to go astray from religious principles, but to do that they will quote leaders. Isn't it? And therefore Krishna tells Arjuna here, to set the right example in society is very, very important. And therefore towards the end of purport you will find what Prabhupada says. Yeah. Can someone read this much? Loudly.
The king or the executive head of a state, the father and the school teacher are all considered to be natural leaders of the innocent people. General.
What does natural leader mean? You don't have to say, okay, I'm a leader, all of you follow me. These people are followed even without any leadership position. And of course, king is a leadership position, but father, no. But people look at it. Yeah.
All such natural leaders have a great responsibility
Towards the dependence. To the dependence. So, what is that great responsibility? In 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, when the Supreme Lord comes as Rishabhadeva, he instructs his 100 sons. One of the instructions he gives is, if you cannot take responsibility for a dependent, that means whoever is depending on you, the parents or the guardians or the teachers, that's gurus, these are the people who are supposed to take responsibility of the dependents in making sure they become Krishna conscious. And he says, if you cannot do it, don't become a father, don't become a mother, don't become a teacher, don't become a public leader, don't do these things, don't become a king. Because to become a leader is not a way to get and earn money, is not a way to swindle money, isn't it? Becoming a leadership position is a high responsibility. With great power comes
Great responsibility.
that everyone knows, great responsibility, isn't it? So therefore, Sri Prabhupada says here, as soon as we become leaders, even natural leaders, if you are a parent, if you're a guardian, if you have younger siblings, if you have people who look up to you, we have to be on our best behavior. Therefore, what is most important is, when we study Bhagavad Gita, when we attend classes like this, we are getting trained how to behave. Similarly, in that instruction given by Swayambhu Manu to Dhruva, he tells, when you are living in society, you need to know how to deal with your seniors, how to deal with your equals, and how to deal with your juniors. How many of you have seniors with you in your life? You have some senior? You have your boss, you have your, someone who graduated before you, you have your elder brother. So Swayambhu Manu says, don't become envious of them. Don't think that, this fellow though he might be my senior, I'm actually smarter than him. That's all envy towards senior, isn't it? Because one feels that position can be mine. So instead of being envious, be respectful towards seniors. And then he says towards equals. Generally in this world, when equals meet, when friends meet together, what do? They say, Prabhu, should I tell you what all great things happened in my life today? They want to boast, this is what I did, and this is what happened, and I just saved the day, I came at the right time. Isn't it? So Swayambhu Manu said, don't boast. When you meet friends, ask them, be friendly, and ask them how their day went. Nice. Isn't it? And then he says, when you meet the juniors, don't push them down, don't rag them, as it happens at Indian colleges. That's the nature, because they want to show, one wants to show his prowess. So therefore they want to rag to show that I'm a very capable person. So don't do that. Towards juniors, be compassionate. So therefore, when we set example by our behavior in society. So therefore, it is said, first comes achar and then comes prachar. One lady went with her son to one person. So this lady, he was a little saintly person, and she took her son, who was very attached to eating sweets, though he had rotten teeth. So the lady requested the saintly person, please give him some upadesh that he stops eating sweets. The saintly person said, okay, you come to me after 2 weeks. Okay, they didn't know what to do. They came after 2 weeks, and the mother asked the same thing. Can you please tell my son to stop eating sweets? He already has tooth decay. So now the saintly person said, okay, beta, don't eat sweets. It's very bad for you. And the child said, okay, I will not do it. And they went. But before going, the mother was a little confused and asked the saintly person, why did you take 2 weeks to tell the same thing? You could have told the same thing 2 weeks ago. Why did you take this much time? Then the mother said, the saintly person said, because at that time even I myself was eating sweets. So because I was eating sweets, how can I tell someone else not to eat sweets? So therefore it took me 2 weeks to put a full stop to my sweets, and now I can tell others, isn't it? So similarly, if we ourselves cannot study Bhagavad Gita, if we ourselves cannot chant Hare Krishna, how will you tell your friends, you have to study Bhagavad Gita, become a devotee of Krishna, chant Hare Krishna? We cannot do it ourselves because we ourselves do not follow. So therefore, this particular verse 3.21 is most important. See, a leader cannot teach the public to stop smoking if he himself smokes. So therefore, for us, we want to be the change which we want to see in this world, and that happens when we all become part of, when we actually try to follow Krishna's instructions, and we become a small set of healing cells. People who don't follow the Vedic rules and regulations, they are like cancerous cells. So what do you want more, healing cells or cancer cells? Healing cells, no doubt, isn't it? So to increase healing cells, we all have to become healing cells. We have that option by what type of decisions we make in our life. So this was on setting example in society. 22. न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यम्
न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यम्
त्रिषु लोकेषु किञ्चन
त्रिषु लोकेषु किञ्चन
नानवाप्तमवाप्तव्यम्
नानावाप्तम् अवाप्तव्यम्
वर्त एव च कर्मणि
वर्त एव च कर्मणि
O son of Parth,
पृथा
पृथा
there is no work prescribed for me within all three planetary systems, nor am I in want of anything, nor have I a need to obtain anything, and yet I am engaged in prescribed duties.
Yeah, purport. Okay, purport I'll leave. So here Krishna is telling Arjuna that actually everything is under me, everything is under my control. I am not bound by any work in this world, isn't it? But still I also perform work. Why? To set the right example, we say. Yeah. So therefore, yeah.
So, is it the case or no that even gods are bound by karma?
They're gods means what? There's only one God. There's Krishna, Vishnu, Rama. These are all one God. Yeah, demigods are not gods. They are jivas.
No,
They have
like,
the position. It's like an administrative position.
like the incarnations. For
Incarnation of who?
Like, for instance, Hanuman or Ram or
So Ram.
Krishna or Buddha.
Correct. So there are different tattvas or truths. So when God, he can wear multiple dresses. He wears Ram dress, Krishna dress, Narasimha dress. This is all one person, multiple acting. So like, for example, Lord Vishnu is like the same person in office, whereas Krishna is the same person at home. Who is more friendly? Yeah, when my father would come from office, I would tell him, please change your dress, because you cannot interact well with when he's in official dress, isn't it? Because he's very strict and he still has work in his mind. But when he changes to casual clothes, you can easily interact with him, like that. So they have different flavors, they have different moods. It's not one person. But then people like you have Ganesh, you have Indra, Chandra, Vayu. These are all jivas, but they're empowered jivas. Empowered means they have done some good activity to take that position of controlling these different elements. To become the department head of wind, you have to have done some good activity in the past. Like that. They have just occupied that position. They serve Krishna, they serve God, but they are not God.
But Krishna, like when he died because some people say that it was a karmic.
Yeah, therefore I'm talking so much about this. It's not karmic.
So why did the arrow hit him in the?
See, I'll tell you, when Mahabharata happened, you have read or watched Mahabharata? So in that Mahabharata, there were how many Brahmastras were flying in the air? Nothing happened to Krishna. And towards the end of Mahabharata, Krishna told Arjuna, okay Arjuna, now you get down, war is over. Arjuna said, no, Krishna, you are the Supreme Lord, you first get down. Krishna said, you get down, I'll tell you why I'm saying. Then Arjuna said, no, my Lord, you are the Supreme Lord, you please get down. Then Krishna said, hey, get down. And then as soon as Krishna stepped out of the chariot, immediately the chariot was burst into pieces. Why? Because of the effect of all that arrows and brahmastras and so much of warfare it underwent. Krishna was the one holding it together. And when Arjuna was severely wounded by Bhishma's arrows, Krishna, by the touch of his hands, lotus hands, immediately cured all the wounds of Arjuna's body. And Krishna was left untouched in the battlefield. It was only in front of Bhishma Krishna manifested blood. Just to give him some
Respect.
not respect also, that also is another thing. That's all. But actually nothing affected Krishna. Now he survived all these big things, and later on one hunter shot a toe of the foot, and that will kill Krishna. Like for example, sometimes tumor grows, tumor like cancer, sometimes it grows in some part of the body, they just amputate that body. A person can live. So certain parts of the body can be amputated, it will not take our life away. You know that? So how can one arrow shot to the toe of the foot of a person kill that person? So this was the stunt put up by Krishna to bewilder the atheistic people. See, for the atheists like say Richard Dawkins, he has written books on atheism. Who is giving him the intelligence to write books? Sarvasya chaham hridhi sannivishto matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Krishna says, I am the person who supply even the atheist his knowledge. Because Krishna is a reciprocal entity, person. Krishna reciprocates. If you want to, if you approach me as if I'm a stone, then you go to temple hall, Krishna will look like a stone to you. And then you will find why people are worshipping stone, isn't it? Because you are approaching Krishna like a stone. You approach Krishna with love, Krishna will appear very lovingly. You approach Krishna with hatred, Krishna will look very hatred to you. Because Krishna is reciprocal in relationship. How you approach. Now atheistic people approach Krishna saying that I don't want to believe in you. Then Krishna says, oh really? Okay, these are the arguments you can use. So that you don't have to believe in me. Isn't it? So if you read Srimad Bhagavatam, all this is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. This is all Krishna's external energy. That is the time he had wound up the Yadu dynasty, he had his purpose was done. He had made the Pandavas as the rulers of the entire world. This was time to go. And at last he pulled one stunt to have atheists also flourish in this material world. After all, material world is a prison house. Isn't it? The atheistic people here. For that he pulled out one stunt. So arrow couldn't kill Krishna. Brahmastras couldn't do anything. What will arrow do? You are able to understand? Yeah. So Krishna is beyond karma. And at the same time, when you refer to Vedic scriptures, there are lessons derived at different levels. Some people will say all this was, Krishna's Yadu dynasty was destroyed because Gandhari's curse. You know that? For Krishna, there is no curse that will affect him. Why? I can tell you why. Because Krishna says in Maya Dakshina, in Bhagavad Gita, he says, Maya Dakshina Prakriti Suyate Satcharacharam Hetuna Anena Kaunteya Jagat Viparivartate. In this material world is moving under my supervision. So if I curse someone, this will happen, your house will get burnt in fire. So then the material elements have to act in a way, I need to have enough strength by my tapasya, that the material elements will act in a way that one day the house will get burnt. But Krishna is saying the material elements, the material nature acts under my supervision. If it acts under my supervision, how does Gandhari have anything to do with Krishna's clan destruction? Isn't it? So that some things like this here and there is there in Mahabharata, because Mahabharata is meant for people in general. Why? Because people like politics. People like some scenes like Dushasan pulling Draupadi and bringing her to the public, and the husbands are not able to do anything, Drona is not able to do anything, Bhishma is not able to do anything. So such scenes people like very much. You have seen that? In Indian serials, they shift the camera continuously, and then the last 15 minutes will only be shifting the camera, and you have to see the next day, isn't it? Why? Because this is all like TRP increasing. Similarly, Vyasdev is a wonderful writer. He has written in such a way that he has increased the TRP, so people want to read Mahabharata. But they will read Mahabharata and only get politics out of it, and they learn some moral codes of conduct, isn't it? But Krishna is not present in Mahabharata as the predominating factor. But now you come to Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. In Srimad Bhagavatam, of course in Mahabharata also you will see what is the most important aspect of Mahabharata is the war, isn't it? Everyone is waiting what will happen between Pandavas and Kauravas. And that moment when Arjuna says, Tenayor Ubhayor Madhye, Ratham Stapayam Achyuta, my dear Lord, take my child in between the two armies. Let me see who all have gathered here to fight. So that is the time people want to really see what is happening in this war. Who will win? So when everyone has their eyes or ears glued to the story, that is the time Krishna speaks Bhagavad Gita. You see how Mahabharata is planned? But then in Bhagavad Gita what Krishna says? Everything is under my control. This is all just a stunt play put up by Krishna. He is a playwright. Like that. And therefore, sometimes you get moral lessons out of scriptures. Sometimes you get lessons like karma. Like there is one famous story mentioned in the scriptures which talk about just serve your parents your whole life and that's all. That is the perfection of life. Isn't it? I cannot recall the exact details of the story, but there are some stories like that also. Why these stories are not meant for everyone? These stories are meant for people who are irresponsible. For them it is at least take care of parents, then you are successful. For people who already take care of parents, they tell, okay, don't settle for this. You have a higher thing to go for. Isn't it? And the highest dharma is sarva dharman paritijya mamekam sharanam vraja, Krishna says. Highest dharma is surrender to me completely. Then everything else is taken care. So therefore here you will see Krishna is mentioning, this is description of Krishna in the scriptures, why he doesn't have to work. Tam Ishwaranam Paramam Maheshwaram Tam Devatanam Paramam Devatam Patim Patinam Param Parastad Vidama Devam Bhuvanesham Idyam Natasya Karyam Karanam Cha Vidyate Natat Samascha Bidikascha Dishyate Parasta Shakti Vivadaiva Shuyate Swabhavaki Jnana Balakriyacha. He is being described who is the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord is the controller of all other controllers. Therefore, he is ultimate controller. He is the greatest of all the diverse planetary leaders. Everyone is under his control. All entities are delegated with particular power only by the Supreme Lord. That means if Indra can shower rain, that is by Krishna's power. If at all Ganesh can remove obstacles in our path to success, that is because of Krishna has given him that Shakti. Like that it is said. They are not supreme themselves. He is also worshipable by all demigods and is the supreme director of all directors. Therefore, he is transcended to all kinds of material leaders and controllers and is worshipable by all. There is no one greater than him and he is the supreme cause of all causes. Now, this is the Vedic scriptures talk about Krishna. So, he is not an ordinary person, don't be confused. Krishna behaves so lovingly and so nicely that sometimes people think he is ordinary like me. When Krishna steals butter and all that, he is called as Makhan Chor. You go and steal butter. No one will call you Makhan Chor. They will call you only Chor. So therefore, he is not ordinary living entity. He does not possess a bodily form like that of ordinary living entity. His body is Chinmay Sharira. Chinmay Sharira means there are no, like Ishopanishad says, there are no veins going through his body. If you cut his hand, there is no blood that will come out. So this is what is Krishna's body, completely spiritual. Chinmay Sharira. Even why talk about Krishna and Brahma, who is a Jiva, Brahma's body is also made up of intelligence. There is no earth, water, fire and ether for Brahma. See? So therefore Krishna's body is completely transcendental. And therefore he is saying this in this verse. So maybe since it's already time, we will continue next time. So therefore in this one he says, there is no work prescribed for me within all the three planet systems. I am not in want of anything. He is called as Atmaram. But still I am engaged in prescribed duties according to my occupation. Why? Because to set the right example, it says. So we'll stop here. So my request is if you can take prasadam and you can come here and you can ask any questions or you can share your reflections if you have any. So thank you very much for kind patient hearing.